Welcome to the Prodigal and the Priest podcast, a podcast about faith, sports, and two friends from different cultures. Here are your hosts, Joey Scansella and Father Paul Bechter.
Prodigal and the Priest and Me. Welcome.
What's up?
Father Paul, Joey Scansella joining you here today. Today, probably, if you're listening on the day this came out, it's January 1st. It's a new year, 2021. Woo! 2021.
2021.
It's all better.
That's a really long drop.
Yeah, you have to hit it again.
Go on for a full minute.
A full minute of applause. 2021. Everything's better.
We're here. We made
no
it.
more pandemic. We're good.
So we recorded this before the new year. So we hope that the new year actually did make it.
That Jesus, well, I mean, if Jesus came, well, we're in a far, far better place we go.
I guess, yeah, nobody will be hearing the podcast then. So
Yeah. Except, imagine this is what plays in heaven. This is what people
Glorious.
have to listen to. So this is our question edition. So whether you're listening to this now or later on, we welcome. We hope you're getting ready for your new year. Check out our last episode from Wednesday. Wednesday our episodes come out on about making kind of New Year's resolutions and what to do and how to be able to go into the new year as a Catholic and be prepared and centered on the Lord and all of that. But we got some questions. We did a lot more fun ones last time for Christmas. So I got a few serious ones on here and a few silly ones.
Okay, let's kick off the year on a somber and serious note.
Well, I'll first start with a non-serious one. So anonymous listener asks, guys, I recently saw you've done over 50 podcasts.
Say what?
Isn't that
I had no
crazy?
idea. I wasn't counting. We should have. What? Okay, what's the question?
Is that how many episodes do you think you'll ultimately do in your time together?
I thought it was going to be, when are you going to have like a big anniversary celebration for your podcast?
We'll need to do the
what's a
1
good
year
number?
of that. But like we both listened to this fantasy football podcast that
Yeah.
just celebrated their 1,000th episode.
We're almost there. Right around the corner.
Sure. But I feel like 50 is pretty impressive.
50? Man.
I think we're actually now on 54 with this one. This was prior to these 4 episodes we recorded in one day for the Christmas and New Year week. So we've already done 50. That's impressive.
That's pretty great.
I feel like we've gotten better along the way. So for those who have been with us from the beginning, we had like poor technology and we weren't as funny.
Our technique, our humor technique
We
has
added
improved.
the YouTube.
We got the YouTube. We got the laugh tracks now. That's not laugh track. That's applause. But I can control it, so it doesn't matter.
Just still basking in the fact that I gave you control of drops. So
much control.
So how many will we do? I think the question's going to be, if we actually want to take this question serious, it will be one day, most likely, you will be transferred from St. Anne's.
Yes.
You're in your second year as a parochial vicar. We pray you get a third year. But most, like, for example, we had Father Kevin here, 3 years. We had Father Martin here was 2 years. Most are 2 to 3 year.
Yeah, 2 to 3 is normal.
The question is going to be, will we be able somehow to do this where we get together, record 5 or 6, even if we're not, but it all depends. Where are they going to send you? To Jerusalem or, the capital or, I don't know, somewhere.
It'd be pretty cool to do this from Jerusalem if you wanted to come over there and we could just
Or what's the time difference?
record. What is it, 7 to Italy, so 8?
8?
It's 8 or 9. I forget if Jerusalem's two away from
8
Italy.
ahead.
Yeah.
So we'd have
make
to
it
do it. Yeah, we'd have to do it just at like noon, my time.
Yeah, or you could just fly over there and I'd be like, come to Hebrew University of Jerusalem and
Yeah.
we'll use our state-of-the-art Israeli podcast equipment.
Do they have that?
Probably.
There you go.
Yeah. The Biblicum doesn't.
There
I'll
you
tell
go.
you that.
I think we
Shut
will
up,
get 150 episodes in before you're transferred somewhere. And the question is, if I can't continue on with you, do we continue on?
Do we rebrand? Do we just continue on with the
Do we
same
just-
brand and
do
get
we
another
just-
priest?
Yeah.
There will be another priest here, presumably.
Yeah. I don't know. But
Am
will
I just
any
a
be as good
placeholder?
to be able to have like that type of
I've already
thing
lost
without-
the beard,
without
so
eyes?
like our graphic is obsolete.
Yeah. We
Just
actually
just
we
got a
need an
stash
updated
now.
we need an updated graphic.
with the stash.
With this- and also one for different seasons. Like, wouldn't it have been cool with like Santa hats or then like the
Yeah, the
Mario and
Mario and
Luigi?
Luigi hats.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
we don't know. We hope as many as we can to bless you all with, but
Yeah, we'll have
I
to
don't
have
like-
some hard conversations
yeah,
down the road.
for sure.
Some real-
for sure.
Real conversations.
All right, this one, it's more serious. I think it's important. We get a lot of different questions. I love this question. I think it's prominent. So I'm going to ask it. Zachary asks, in the wake of the election with Joe Biden primed to take office, he is likely one of the most famous Catholics in America now. Given his support of abortion and some of the limitations he has looked to place on religious freedoms, should Catholics / the church be doing more to speak out against these positions? Who is such a public representation of the faith, or should faith and politics be separated? I love the question. I love the boldness and the question. I want to start off by just saying that I think it's a joke that every 4 years, because it usually doesn't happen on just regular election, elections that happen locally.
Right.
But every 4 years, the Catholic Church does all these statements that are like, well, we can't comment because of tax reasons, or we won't be able to be a nonprofit, or that. I just think we're scared to. And I'm just going to toss that out. And it bothers me that we can't say, yeah, there is no perfect candidate, but I don't support abortion. And I support religions being, free and not these being hampered in these ways and making religious orders, like buy, contraceptives and, have to do that. Like, yeah, I disagree with a lot of the things he does. Don't get me wrong. I disagree that, Donald Trump does the death penalty, and there is no perfect candidate. We have talked about that. We talked about that in that episode thing. But yeah, I do think, and I'll take the hit because I know you're a priest. I know you work for the diocese. You could get in more trouble than me. I think it's a joke that we don't comment on these things because of tax exempt status. And I also think it's a joke that, we don't stand up for what we believe in a lot of times.
And it does play into some of like what was implicit in one option in the question, which is that faith and
should
the
faith and
rest-
politics be separated?
be separate, which is really like faith, and then faith is compartmentalized, and then the rest of life,
Right.
That's kind of the logical conclusion of faith and politics being separated. I have been reading the some of these Cardinal Sarah books lately. Robert, you say it Robert Sarah, not Sarah, but it looks like Sarah.
Okay.
He's from Guinea, from West Africa originally. He's a cardinal, head of the Congregation of Divine Worship. And he did 3 different books with this journalist that are written as full-length books, but they're written in an interview question and answer style.
Right.
And in the first one, called God or Nothing, you learn a lot about his early life, growing up in this very poor, isolated village in Guinea in West Africa.
Right.
And then you hear about him, after all of his studies, becoming bishop of that place and standing up against the government, which was quite horrible in there and very different from the challenges that we face in the West. Like, this was full on, like, murderous dictatorship that he was dealing with in Guinea. I found it amazing and so inspiring to hear him talk about the freedom that he had to speak the truth, knowing that he had nothing to lose, that they were so poor, they had nothing to lose materially. And that he, as the bishop of that country, basically, as the most prominent church figure, could speak without fear against the oppression of that dictator, because he didn't have anything materially invested. And
Right.
I mean, we have a lot to lose here. So I do think that you're right about the tax exemption thing. That, like, if that's the only reason we're silent when we should otherwise speak, then that's a problem. And we're not navigating it very well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that, and that's the reason that's been given to me. A lot of times when I ask, why can't we speak up about this? Why can't we say anything? Why can't we guide people? We give them a thing to, vote your conscience, but is it formed or not? And I think what Zachary is asking here is like, why aren't Catholics, why isn't the church doing more to speak out against these things? And so I will say the church's point of view is the same. It is for life. It is for religious freedoms. It is for those things. And it is for things that are and that's why I need to be careful in what I say, that there's no perfect candidate.
Right.
We need to just put that out
Yeah.
there 100%. There's no perfect candidate. But yes, I do feel the church should speak up more. But right now, in these times, I just feel like everybody is silenced because of fear of, how they'll be reprimanded or what will happen, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
A form of cancel culture as well.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a little bit of the dilemma that you see in that movie Silence, about the Jesuits in Japan, the Jesuit missionaries in Japan.
mm-hmm. I don't think I've seen it.
Endo, what's his name? Shishaku Endo, something like
Okay.
that. Silence. He wrote a book. I've heard the book was better than the movie. The movie's quite long. It's got some ambiguous messaging to it that is thought-provoking, but I think is also dangerous. About what is the cost of what does it mean to be put to the test?
Right.
But anyway, without going into a whole movie review on it, which may be worthwhile sometime, but the point I want to bring up here is that in that movie, you see they're trying to get at the priests and the religious leaders in this persecution against Catholics. They're trying to get at them by attacking other things, like people or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and to make the priest feel responsible for the suffering that these people are going through because the priest isn't renouncing his faith,
Yeah.
or turning himself in.
Right.
And so there is, I wonder, not being in a position of that kind of authority, I wonder if there's something of a caution about speaking the truth in too strong a way, such that it would cause suffering for Catholics, which was unnecessary.
Mm.
That's the analogy I'm thinking. It's tough because you've got St.
Yeah.
Paul on the one hand being speak the truth in good time and bad.
Yeah.
And we know that that's true, but we're also supposed to be clever as serpents and wise as serpents in the way we do these things. I did see that early on, when it seemed more clear that Biden was the president-elect, there was a statement that the Catholic bishops put out. And
I have not read it.
I was surprised, like there was an initial one which was almost nothing. It was just we congratulate so-and-so. And then there was another one which was okay, well, let's get down to it. And I thought it was more critical than I expected it to be, specifically about issues to do with life and So that was just one statement as a while ago. You didn't hear about it, so obviously it wasn't like shouted from the rooftops.
Right.
But yeah, it's a good question. I'm interested to see going forward.
I don't think though it should be separated, because the moment you separate that,
I don't think so either. I think
then we can just say, well, my faith is good over here in this small box. And doesn't influence anything else.
That's the fallacy in American politics that came with the election of JFK. That was his promise to all those who was like, Catholics are just puppets of the Pope, and there's been anti-Catholic sentiment since the days of the founding fathers here practically, where Catholics would be viewed with suspicion as foreign agents of Rome.
Right.
And JFK's argument against that was to distinguish between what he held as a personal faith and how he would act in public policy. And that's now an extremely common distinction for politicians to make. And it's a hard one to really get behind.
Right.
As a Catholic.
Yeah, because I mean, just going down that route, like,
it seems like he opened up this Pandora's box of
what if I did that? Well, I can be Catholic over here, but not when I'm at home with my family.
Should we hire you as a youth minister to work at church and to be involved and form the youth here and be involved in the leadership of the church and everything? If, privately you disagree with a large amount of church teachings, you make no effort to live by them, you're not really professing the Catholic faith, but publicly you will, for the sake of your job. Like, how different is that? Like, that sounds kind of absurd to me. I wouldn't hire you if that was the actual state of things. And I think it would be deceiving for our parishioners if they put their kids into a youth program where it turns out like the youth minister wasn't actually Catholic.
Right.
That would be
they know.
Deceptive. Dun dun dun. We don't have that drop, but
no.
And so I wonder with politicians, like, it is a little different, maybe because you're representing people, but maybe it's not that different.
Yeah. Great question.
Yeah.
Thank you, Zachary.
Yeah, really great question.
I don't know if we helped in any way.
Nah,
but
I don't think so.
I
probably just got myself in trouble. Get the podcast
I'd say
shut down.
100% we should speak out more for sure. Also, he follows up with the second off, who should make the college football playoff? Well, we already know the 4 teams. Do you? You don't follow college football as much as I do.
Not as close, but I know that even though Notre Dame lost to Clemson, that they're still in the top 4, right?
Yeah, so they're 4.
They didn't get bumped out by A&M or somebody.
Right, so that's the thing. And so
Alabama, Clemson,
it's Alabama 1, Clemson 2, Ohio State 3, 4 Notre Dame. Now, I will say this. People know me being from the Northeast, and I'm a Notre Dame fan. My biggest issue is with Ohio State being in, and I'll just toss that out. And I know a few of our listeners.
They only played 6 games.
Yeah,
or whatever.
And I know a few are diehard Ohio State fans. But explain to me, your best win is against Northwestern in the championship game, which was a little rough for you most of the game, so they didn't do that well. Meanwhile, you have 2 teams like Notre Dame and Texas A&M that both played full conference schedules. Tough, had to go in, week out, figure out how to make this work during a pandemic. Notre Dame beats a number 2 Clemson team and a UNC team, which is now 14. A&M beats Florida, which I think at the time was ranked 4 or 5. So I do think A&M was deserving, not over Notre Dame, and people are going to call me a homer for saying that, and that's fine. But I think over Ohio State, how do you put they did not show up against Northwestern. So I don't know, Ohio State fans, if you're out there, we want to hear why. Give me some reasons why. Call us up. Call our number.
I'll give you Joey's phone number right now.
There you go. They could probably find it easily. So, okay, last but not least, because both of us have meetings, so we'll make it kind of quick. If you wrote a book, what would the topic and title be?
Man, I don't know. Yeah,
Perfect.
It would be that would be the title.
Man, I don't know.
And then I don't know, some pithy subtitle.
Also, I forgot to say that question came from Scarlett. So Scarlett, thank you. Thank you, Scarlett.
I've been thinking of the Latin phrase, Deus non irridetur. God will not be mocked. From Galatians.
I was going to say, it has to be another language for you.
Yeah,
like, it can't be an English title.
Yeah. God will not be mocked from Galatians, like 6 verse 7 or something like that. Yeah. I'd start with that title and go from there.
I feel like my book would be on probably I would name it some title after JP2 and a quote about him that was really Jesus saying it. So
Nice.
Seems to be a constant theme in my life. No, but in all seriousness, yeah, I would want to write a book about, I think, okay, being all serious, if I could write a book that people actually read and it made a difference in their life, I would want it to be about prayer. I don't know what the title would be. Just do it. Prayer. Something like that.
Like,
but really, I judge my time as a youth minister. I say, if I've done it correctly as a youth minister, my teens know how to pray going to college because that's going to get them through. And I feel like title and that would be, about prayer, getting them through. Also, Dom reads these books called Dog Man, which are the funniest,
we've heard about Dog
funniest
Man.
books ever. So I wish I could think of a book like Dog Man. That would be great. So that's all you got? Latin?
Yeah, random Latin title. Or I would want to find something like one of these research projects from the Old Testament that would be fun to work on. Just something really esoteric, but then would turn out to be like the most important thing that you never knew.
Or a book on conspiracies. I'm big onto conspiracies.
I'm not really.
That surprises me because you're so factual. So I would think you would want to prove them wrong. Like, did we land on the moon?
Yes.
Is Paul McCartney alive?
No.
So,
see, I did it.
There you go. Hey, Happy New Year, everybody. Hope you have a great 2021. We look forward to many episodes with you. Reach out to us, prodigalthepriest@gmail.com with those questions, or stannparish.org/PTP. And happy feast of Mother Mary, right?
Yeah. Mary, Mother of God.
Yep. Take care.
Theotokos. I forget where the accent is. The God bearer in Greek.
God bearer. Take care.
God bless. Forgot it.